Good morning. Today we have Jan Triplett from the Business Success Center here in Austin. Jan, tell us a little bit about the Business Success Center.
Well, what we do, and we have been doing for 30 years, is we have been ramping up, scaling up, and fixing businesses here in Austin and around the country and internationally.
And how do you do that?
We work very closely with the owner to make sure that he or she is really on top of where they're trying to get to and thinking about where they want to end up. So we really talk about exit strategy from the beginning so that we're building towards something rather than simply building a business. But we teach them as we go along so that they can really become independent of us. It's sort of DIY entrepreneurship in a way, with a little help from a mentor and from some consulting help and some direct intervention.
You know, tell us a little bit more about the Mentoring Center. You have a phenomenal reputation in the mentoring programs you've put together.
Oh, you're very kind. Many years ago, I wrote a book called The Networker's Guide to Success, which I've just put out as an ebook. And my emphasis has always been giving as well as taking. And so part of mentoring is creating that opportunity not only to work with somebody, to give them the tools that they need, but also to learn from them. And so over the years, we have done several kinds of mentoring programs, from an incubator to an accelerator to a business development center. And we also now have this private small business mentoring program. And as a matter of fact, you are one of my mentors when I can get you away. And that's a little hard to do. But the whole point, I think, about mentoring, and I'm glad you brought it up, because at the international event for South by Southwest yesterday, that was a question the internationals had. How do we in America make mentoring work so well? And I think it's because of people like you and some efforts on our part to really reach out to people and say, you don't always have to pay for it. There are ways for things to work together. And so our mentoring program is designed to do that and to give people access to lawyers and technical people in sales and marketing without it being your father or your brother that you go to for help.
Now, when you kind of get the entrepreneur and you have the mentor or mentors to choose from, how do you make that match? How do you kind of link those two together? Is it a thought-out process of not just the skill set that the entrepreneur needs, but the personality of the entrepreneur and the mentor? How do you think about that?
For us, for the program that we run, it's really kind of a first step in finding a mentor. And some people think about it as speed dating, but it really isn't, because we profile what we call our mentees, the people who apply. It's a very simple process, but what it does is it shows their real interest in doing this so that they don't just show up for an event. I'm one of the South by Southwest mentors, and I have no idea who's going to walk in the door. But in our mentoring program, the mentors already have information about the mentees. They already know where they're coming from, how far along they are, what are their specific needs, what they're looking for in a mentor. And that gives our mentors an edge in working with the mentees. And so I think that helps a mentoring situation not to just go into it cold or to walk into an office, to really have thought about the answers of where you're trying to get to with your business, and then finding somebody who matches it. And I do a follow-up with all of the people who attend, and that gives me a chance to see what I need to do next. And what we added, because they wanted it, was a second looks, a way to come back to work with people again. And so, as I said, you learn a lot from the people who want to be mentored, if you're a mentor, and the mentees hopefully learn a lot and walk away from it with a lot.
So you've refined the mentoring process specifically
I'm an entrepreneur, I can't help it.
This is great. So tell us about the entrepreneurs you kind of deal with.
We have dealt with everyone from accounting firms to zoos. Really, honest to goodness, zoos, some are not nonprofit. And so from A to Z, we have found some commonalities in problem areas in terms of ramping up and scaling and then exiting. And so our combination has allowed us to work with all of these people. Currently, we're doing a lot, it certainly happens that way, that we're working with a lot of high technology companies. A very interesting location intelligence, GIS, GPS company, a financial management application company. Also a very interesting woman who's providing services to people, not only adults, but children who have difficulty with reading and math, and helping her build that. Basically, school has been a very interesting process.
So you find some commonalities regardless of the business type?
I do. When I started 32 years ago, about the time that you were starting ATI, there wasn't really much to help us. And so I've sort of made every mistake in the book, and I've watched other people make the mistakes. So part of our process is we know what mistake is out there that could catch somebody, and to try to catch them in advance before that happens. And that makes it possible for them to make less mistakes and to get further faster. And that's our goal.
And so if there was one trait of an entrepreneur that you look for and you have seen that entrepreneur or those types of entrepreneurs be successful, what would that trait be in that entrepreneur?
I just did a webinar on successful traits, and actually I find 8 of them. If you ask me to pick one.
Please tell us the 8.
Well, let me answer your question first. I think a sense of humor is probably the most important thing, and that may sound ridiculous, but if you can't laugh at yourself when you fall down or you open the door and something comes out of your mouth that shouldn't, to a prospect or into an investor, you're dead in the water. If you can't have that much self-confidence, which is the second one. Versatility is a third one. Being adventurous, which has to do with being risk tolerant, which is a fifth one. Being a finisher is the sixth one. And my personal favorite, because I am one, and maybe you are too, is a benevolent despot. And what that means is I'm willing to listen and take in any input people give me, but when push comes to shove, my name is on the door. So I'm benevolent, I listen, but I'm a despot because I decide. It's my business, and I'm willing to take the heat and whatever happens.
Dr. Jan Triplett, from the Business Success Center in Austin, we thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Laura. I appreciate it very much, and it's wonderful to be here. Thank you.